Guys, welcome back to another episode of Unmotivated. We have our guy Q with us today. We've got co-host Maul and Money sitting on the mics. Listen, I'm going to let him introduce himself. We had a good feeling about this guy. I told him the other day he got sick. I said, look, you had to look me in the face and tell me to go fuck myself before I stop asking. I am not him. I'm okay with you saying no. I'm not okay with what they call, I think the women call it ghosting nowadays. That ghosting, because we're going to be at the same place at the same time quite some time until he leaves. But, man, go ahead and introduce yourself, man, and tell them a little about yourself.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, it's pretty much you see what you get. My name is Quentin Smith. Everybody call me Q. That's the one time we're going to be professional, shake hands, and after that, no more government names. Just call me Q. I mean, my story is a complicated and simple one, but long story short, I'm just healing and I'm growing, man. I'm originally from Bama, by way of Atlanta, by way of New York, by way of China, by way of California, and now I'm settled into looking into be settled in here. You know, I've got a background in fitness performance and coaching and business. I've worked in real estate, and now I'm essentially just rebranding and reliving and getting back out to being me. So whatever that is.
So and then what would you call the Quentin brand?
It's a brand that's still being discovered, to be honest with you.
You don't have to sit up, boss. Go ahead and just adjust the mic however you need to. That's why we got it, so it can get closer to that couch. Go ahead and just pull it down to you.
There is some serious deep couch.
Yeah, you're going to sink in there.
Yeah, man. It happens, bro. Trust me.
I'm like,
stuck.
no, I was like, sitting there. I'm like, man, and you got like heavy rain and insomnia. I'm about to take a nap. I had to sit up for me.
You see, I'm sitting up. I sit up for the first 30.
Yeah,
and then about that next, he like
like
this.
I forget I'm not at the house, man. Nah, man. So the brand, honestly, it's funny that you asked that. This is a really unique time for me. I'm rediscovering me. I've done a lot of, just recreating over the last 5 years. I'd say so. I got divorced in 2016.
Okay.
And I found within that I was creating a life that I was expected to live. And then moving to New York, I built a life where finances were the drive, but it was also out of spite, so it wasn't fully authentic. And then
you got to prove a point, huh? Yeah.
I had to prove. I was like, all right, well, let me show you. And then based from there, when I left to Cali, I'm low key a hippie hipster. You'll meet my wife, y'all get it. But I was meditating and I was working on my healing journey. I had a legit mental breakdown because I was just hustling. And then within that, I was meditating. I was like, you know what? I'm done. And I moved to Cali to heal and to stop. I took a full year off, and then the world shut down and shit got real. I was like, I budgeted for a year, not for 3. And, within that, moving to Texas, my mom passed in August.
This past August.
She passed in August, and that's a big reason why I moved here, to be a part of her transition. And that shit was real, man. Like, it was real. So I was focused on that. And now, having met my person and having worked on healing and having that major part of my life conclude, I'm in a place of who actually Quentin actually is without that.
Damn, bro.
So I'm finally resurfacing. So you guys caught me at a good time because
Hey, this is perfect. Hey, look,
pay attention.
I tell you this, my buddy that was over here, and I tell, and even Jamarcus, I said, you're about 2 years old, right? And he looked at me once like,
I like that.
He was like, 2 years? I said, you've never had an original thought where you got to choose who you wanted to be for you. I said, so if every idea ever came to you and you was worried about what somebody else was going to think, and you got to watch what come out of your mouth, got to watch how you move. I said, you've only lived for 1 year, bro.
That's facts.
Yeah.
I said, now, I'm an asshole, and I've been living since I was 15, technically 4. I said, because my mama tell you, look, you can't make him do nothing, period. It's like, no, I'm just, everybody in here, the one, you don't know me, but like they know, it take a lot of convincing. It take a lot of convincing. So if you don't mind, walk us through what it's like to heal. Because, listen, on this right here, we have to allude to the fact that we're all black men sitting down here. And, one of the things I've told Maul and them as we've had conversations off camera, we're trying to build something very unique. But at the same time, there's no place for us to ever go and feel safe.
Man, I just kind of want to sit with that because it takes someone that is developing and healing to recognize somebody that's developing and healing.
Yeah.
And more often than not, especially with the black men space, I'm the one that's driving that and consistently get disappointed. For you to catch and pick that up in passing,
Oh yeah.
that's some gangster shit.
Yeah, you know, I'm like John Coffey, man. That's the truth, man. I've shaken a dad's hand, Gabe Gill's dad. I said, man, you and your dad, you don't get along well, huh? He says, man, how'd you know? I said, I could feel that man's rage. I said, that man's an angry person. And this white kid,
I told myself I was gonna stop drinking, but y'all might have to post something else. You about to get there.
Hey, it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know if you a Green Mile fan, but that's one of my movies, man. He said, I could see it on you. And I could see it on a lot of it. That's why I stay away from people. You're like, some be like, this nigga don't give a shit. It's like, look, I ain't got the energy to be bled because you are going through a time. And then, you know, shout out to my guy Maul and Jamarcus and I have done a post where I've been a part of his life since I was about 18, and he had his ups and downs. But it took 8 years to get him to see that he's worth 1% of the man he's choosing to be now. Think about it. 8 years to watch him grow 1%. And I told them before he realized this here recently, if in the next 20 years, every 5 years, you guys grow by 5%, I've done a good job. Because Steve Jobs wasn't Steve Jobs at 20. They became who they were at 50. And some people don't understand, hey, what's that journey look like to becoming, you know, who you want to be? And then if we, you know, I got to say it, if we look at Black, you know, Maul can call his dad. My dad's a criminal and a crook. You can't call him. I bet not. I mean, he's just not a good person. My mom's not the brightest.
Yeah.
The best thing she might ever did was have me. That's the truth. and still, I told her, if you don't need me, don't call me. So you go, I have to manage my energies because I, just like you want to see these men grow, right?
Yeah.
But then they get tied into potentially sometimes helping some people who just can't get there.
And I think it's also too with, I think it was Curtis Jackson. He's like, or it was either him or my mother. What's my brother? I got two Tory Lanez.
Oh yeah, no, that's Kevin Gates.
Kevin Gates. Yeah. And he mentioned he's like, takers can always recognize givers.
Oh yeah.
And I thought that was like some of the most profound stuff because like I feel like at my core, my essence, I have a heart to grow and heart to pour and heart to give. And nowadays there's something, and the pandemic has just like turned that up by like 27 degrees where niggas, you know, like,
be candid, man.
Look for somebody that's trying to do something on that excellence and they want to ride the wave and then disrupt it once they get involved. They just want to be a part of it so much that they can disrupt it because they're pissed off about their own shit.
Man. Yeah, man.
I mean, like, bro, listen here. You put my wife on the phone, we gonna sit here and talk about it because we was in the car just talking about I can't stand nobody in this motherfucker. I feel like Dave Chappelle.
Hey,
everywhere I go.
But then you look at the ones who are sitting up there at 1% and why they by themselves.
Also they're by themselves, but at the same time, for the most part, you can look at Diddy. He's like, I don't want to deal with nobody else. Like, and you want to be that 1% that people strive against. And like, so you can say, look, I made it. It's on that house nigga mentality. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm sitting on the horse, but you ain't with me because I'm close to massa. And honestly, that's been a lot of my professional career is trying to make people like me so I could get in the room. So I could also take those skills and be a Trojan horse and bring people along.
No, you know what? Look.
But when you bring people along,
no. That's so. If you can get in a room, don't bring nobody with you.
Exactly.
And you know how hard it is for me to. And I've told them, I said, bro, you know, Maul will be like, yo, where you headed? And he'll jump in the car. And then because Jamarcus is in association with the business, I've got to show him things. But I built a couple businesses, and it was always me. And I wasn't looking for nobody unless you could do business. And I didn't have any Negroes, to be clear, when I was building businesses that were you know, going to be advantageous to everyone's growth. And so if I can get us to $100 million, I can go back and help some motherfuckers potentially.
That's fair.
But we saw what happened to Nipsey. You go, so do you go back to those environments where they look at you as an op versus someone who's genuinely trying to add value? Look, I'm not doing it. I got to be honest with you. Somebody asked me one time when I was in Kansas, where I'm from, hey, you should take this to the urban area. I said, and do what? I was out there with Shawnee Mission, Overland Park, Lawrence, Rockers. I'm like, and do what? There's no support there.
It's crazy, man. It's definitely crazy because Trev, you know, just recently got into my life, man, and he's just like, yo, he just overheard some conversations, met a few people, and it's like, man, you got access to these kind of people, and he comes down. We playing a game one day, and my cousin pulls up, right, and it's just like he's not understanding the different levels to business and the different ways people
his
conduct
cousin.
business.
I
You
mean,
know what I'm saying? On a corporate level. So Trev just overhears it and it was like, man, can't bring everybody with you, bro.
And
You know what I'm saying? Because that could jeopardize those relationships.
in your position while you're elevating.
But like you said, I'm normally the dude. You know, I'm like, man, how the hell did I get in this room? And and then we spoke about that imposter syndrome. You know, you ask why you got in there, but you know why you got in there. You have certain skills and assets that people, you know, want, you know, to be around or want to see you kind of flourish in. So that's why you're getting the opportunity to be around these folks. So don't kind of diminish that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you try to bring people with you because you have this idea and vision of like, yo, if I get there, I could bring, you know, my dogs with me. And, you know, they didn't never understood financial literacy at its highest level. And if we could figure out how to penetrate that armor, we could start to, you know, make it rain down like confetti. But people have to be vetted because it's different. It's just different levels and different levels of understanding.
Yeah. And to that point, to your original question, it's like, what does healing look like for you? And I think that being fully present to your patterns and your triggers and your traumas and being able to make friends with that shadow and also dismantle the actions that come from those immature belief systems or those coping mechanisms or that those trauma responses or innate environmental programming, and then going from trying to pursue environments that, you know, where you're trying to people please and make people happy, and then you get comfortable within self. Like when my mom was passing, that was a year and a half of just bullshit. Like it was the most, but at the same time, it was the most honest time that I've ever been in my life. Like watching somebody pass is not a beautiful story where you're like, oh, Annie M, tell them I love you, and then they go down.
No.
It's a process, like, and it's an honest process. It's a process of your body shutting down. It's a process of people being around and you having to cut down your circle, like, and it's a process of having to leverage other people around you to get the job done. And with that, I've gotten a small circle that I can truly rely on, and I'm less of trying to grow and get so many quote unquote friends, and now just organically being myself and attracting. And this is an opportunity to come with that. I wasn't looking to be a part of this. However, like attracts. And I think that healing is a lot of that, man. And it's actually a lot more honest and uncomfortable and ugly than what we were taught or
absolutely
led to believe by, you know, people that weren't actually doing the work themselves.
Yeah. You know, my buddy Rich was on here and he's like, you know, after 5 years, I called that nigga a friend. And he'll tell you like
he's a nigga first though, apparently.
Yeah, no. He'd tell you, he said, you know,
funny.
Trev watched me really like dial it in, right? And he was locked in on some shit. Like he had a big dream, big goal, and the man was on a mission. So I appreciated his effort in his life. And we got real close during that time where, you know, he becoming someone that I trusted. So if you could give anybody even some advice on healing and what that looks like, because some people think they're untouched. Nothing's wrong with them. They can't get no better. They can't do no growing. They know everything. You know how niggas are.
Yeah.
I said, you know, I've never seen a group of people so prideful about having nothing. That drives me crazy, bro. He said, boy, y'all got a lot of pride and I know nothing. And then, you know, the funny thing is, you know, I got to bring up a dog situation. Somebody said, you know, Trev, could you explain epigenetics better and why they're important? I said, have you ever been in a room with a bunch of white people? It was a black person. And felt uncomfortable? He said, yeah. I said, that's epigenetics. I said,
oh my God.
I said, you get motivated around your own colors. I said, but get in a room with white folks, all of a sudden you ain't that nigga. I said, that's crazy, ain't it? I said, that's 300 years of epigenetics.
Like, and you're welcome. Come back now, you hear?
Hey, you know what the nigga do? He be scratching his head like, damn.
Like, man, I just learned how to pronounce epigenetics.
Exactly.
Now, oh man.
But when you look at healing, you say, where do you get most of your confidence from, or how do you work through the things that you actually need to work on to improve? It's a fucking journey, right?
Yeah, man. Like you asked the question, where do you get your confidence from?
Yeah.
I think it is the understanding that you're not going to be confident. And it's that comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Like healing is some bullshit, man. It's not fun. It's not something that, you know, you have some celestial being come down and say, Mary, without thou, you're healed. No. Healing comes from, in my opinion, either it's a necessity. It's not something that you're going to do on your own. It's something that happens. You're either going to die or you're going to make a decision. With everything in life, like I would have committed suicide had I not made a decision to live.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And that decision to live, it's one of those things. Is that you make a decision, and then you start taking actions toward that decision. And what happens within that is your world will fucking end. I made a prayer one time before I got divorced. It's the worst fucking prayer I've ever made in my entire life. And I'm not into religion. I've dismantled that. Yeah. However, my spiritual connection to my creator and whatever essence that happens when you take a lot of shrooms and sit down and feel it, me and that are cool. Yeah. And within that, I said, I want truth. And my fucking world ended. And it ended so catastrophically and so publicly that I was just broken. And I was so low to the point where I remember going into a place, nothing worked. And I was just like finally confronted with all the bullshit that's been underneath for years. And I was about to run my head through a wall. So I went to a mental health place. I said, somebody needs to help me today.
Yeah.
Today, because if not, I'm going to run out in the middle of traffic. Yeah. And they're like, okay, cool. Come on in.
Patch Adams story.
I mean, but like, and that's the ugly truth about, for me, as you start to heal, you start to discover more ugliness. And the problem with it is that you can't unsee truth once you've seen it.
Hey, a dude named Edwin Birch told me, says, Trev, once you see the light, you can't claim darkness no more.
You can't. You can't. Like, it just doesn't align with your spirit, your soul, your essence. And I think with healing, it comes from a necessity and a decision. And then once you dismantle the lie, you have to replace it with truth, even the truth that you can't fully understand and agree with.
Hey, so this is a favorite question, guys. You can use this on any girl that you're trying to get to know, okay? When you ask this question, it's going to force him to. I said, what's the best lie you ever told yourself?
Damn.
Yeah, exactly. You know how many motherfuckers going, hey, look, I can see shit. And mind you, I'll ask the question, walk off. I don't give a shit. But when you ask them that question, it'll force them to identify. You know, and identity, there's a lot of people going through identity crisis via social media and many other places. Sure. So in this case, you say, hey, what's the best lie? Because the worst lies we tell are the ones we tell ourselves. Mm-hmm. So if you can stop lying to yourself, you normally will get way further in life, in my experience at least. But you're sitting up here, you get to rock bottom, you have to face the truth, and there's a truth that lives within, and now you can no longer deny it. So what was the lie that you were telling yourself?
There's mad lies, son. I think that I got this. I know what I'm doing.
Oh,
yeah, that part, man.
Yeah.
Jesus, that'd be the one too, boy. It's that simple though, right?
I got this. I know what I'm doing.
It'd be that simple.
And when I realized, like, I don't believe what I've been taught. And not only that, like, man, when I was in New York, man, I was making money, at least for me.
Yeah.
Like, I had transcended my upbringing. I had played football, traveled the world. I was like, I was in real estate. I had my own personal company that was growing and scaling. And I was making, I'm talking, for me, my expenses were low. I had it.
Yeah.
And I recognized that as much as I had it in my mind, I didn't. And I wasn't happy or wasn't fulfilled, because I feel like happiness is an emotion. It's like a cloud. It comes and goes, and it's situational, right? You shouldn't expect to be happy. But fulfillment, I think, it's like love. It's a choice. And if you can't claim it in your environment, then you have to remove yourself from the environment, right? Yeah. So for me, having the idea that the outside things that the world really respects and admires, and all these people coming in trying to be in your space, figuring your shit out, and not really being yourself, because I'm still trying to figure out who the hell I am, right?
Yeah, it's a journey.
And I think necessity creates it, man. Like, I really, like, you can't choose healing until healing chooses you. And then all the distractions, all the bullshit, all the lies have to be dismantled. You have to go inside your shadow. You have to deal and make friends with your ugliness. And then the one thing that I think a lot of people miss, it's not a solo journey, although you have to be isolated. I give a lot of credit to my wife, Kendra, my rib. Like, everybody's like, oh my God, you should love to be married. I fucking hate being married. I hate that shit. Marriage is the worst shit because it's a constant mirror on where you have to grow.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And that motherfucker won't stop growing with me. That's
a
the
good thing,
problem.
right?
No. I've been able to skate. And one of the questions I asked my wife when we were dating, was, are you willing to grow with me? And that's been one of the most powerful things because every time that we reach a point where I'm like, look here, I'm holding you accountable. You're holding me accountable.
Yeah.
That's the baseline. Are you willing to grow with me? And I got married before trying to keep something that was never there.
Man, same.
And the problem with healing is what happens is all of the things that you hate or all of the things that give you an excuse to be who you are being in authenticity, right? Like being completely inauthentic. They stop holding power and you recognize that it was actually good for you to lose the things that you've been holding on to.
Got to cut that dead weight.
Yeah.
You
Man,
know,
say.
like I'm telling y'all,
We'll have some people scratching their head after this one, man.
Boy, what?
Man, this is,
I knew this was gonna be a fucking
Bro, man.
I told Mar, I said, look, I think we need to get him on our podcast.
Yeah.
I said, some
Yeah.
telling me this might be the one. Because, you don't know what we're doing. And we don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
What I do know is that you have a pulse. And so, we did that episode a couple weeks ago. I said, this fucking sucks, guys. I told Jamarcus, delete this shit. You guys better figure it out. I'll do it myself. and I said, it has to have a pulse. Now, mind you, in my head, we had 20 episodes to get to before I believed it was going to work. Once I look at the numbers, I'm a numbers guys. Oh, this is fucking working, guys. I got to put my foot on the gas and on everybody's neck because there's an opportunity here now, literally a real opportunity. So when I'm seeing this guy move and how he's maneuvering, I could see the smile regardless if he wants to be there or not. Trust me, I have to do it every time I get up,
right?
and put up with the shit or the bullshit, whatever the case may be. So, healing, where does it start? Clearly, it never ends realistically.
Sure.
Steve Jobs said it one time. A guy asked him a tough question. He said, "Listen, we got a lot of scar tissue at Apple, and what some people will fail to realize is if the company 20 years ago." It knew that they got beat up. They just taken some beatings. Why is it that sometimes we feel removed, like we can't be touched? I don't think I can't be touched. Like even when 50 was asked, "Hey, are you fearless?" He says, "No." He said, "To not recognize fear is how you end up in danger." That'd be like me saying danger don't exist. And there's always somebody out there that's willing to chew on you. If you bring that type of energy, but. When you recognize you needed to heal objectively and, you began that process and you identified what was that one thing that you had to start? Was it your heart? Was it your mind? Was it your soul? Was it friends? Was it family? Was it, what was it?
Oh, man, the very first thing I had to disrupt was my image. And
that's how people saw you?
It's how I was led to believe that I had to fit in. So, like, bro, we're going to take it back now.
Go ahead, bro. This is what this is for, man.
So, I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, man. And growing up in the 80s in Alabama, my father moved from Baltimore City, right? So he was in...
That's like the hood to the extra ghetto to two dangerous environments because there's nothing going on in either one.
There's nothing going on. And, like, he was born around the Martin Luther King assassinations, too. Wow. So, like, the project that they were down the road got burnt down. So his come from... And if you really, I'm talking like, and then you want to take it back again, California, smoked a lot of weed, so do a lot of thinking when I burn because it brings me to like, my ancestors. But if you look about it, it's a lot of historical wounds that we have as a people, and not to mention just men. There's so many intersectionalities. If you want to look at a transgender black woman, like that's check, right? So let's just go back for me. There's a lot of belief systems that are born out of trauma, right? So my grandfather was an alcoholic, and he passed right before I was born. So my father was raising me as a 24-year-old black man with no support system that just lost his father figure. So insert that into as an underlying tone of raising a family. And so my father not only, and I found this out later because, again, my mom passed recently, my mother, she also lost her job because she was sick and it was some bullshit. So imagine being a 24-year-old man with 2.5 kids and then having to work and no support system in a foreign place with the racism undertones coming from where you come from. Not his fault. And we've unpacked this and we're working on our healing. But like, imagine that is the environment. I can look at it now and see I'm 37, about to be 37.
Yeah.
I can't imagine raising a kid down. I still don't know shit, right? So subtract 10 years in life experience and exposure to what we're even talking about.
Oh man.
As the baseline of your frustration. And then we add on the black mandem in a racist ass environment when you had no one teaching you social coping or emotional coping skills because he was drinking. My grandfather.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. So for me, when I was raised.
That word though too, we got to come back. It's like, how do you emotionally socialize in a sense, even when you put in that in context? Being emotionally stable, being emotionally strong. A lot of times the strength comes from empathizing even at times, right? But it also comes from making sense of things and knowing when to remove yourself so you don't get emotionally drained.
I think it's becoming more peace with the fact that you will never be emotionally stable.
Boom.
And if you're an empathizer and you're empathetic and you can feel and you're an empath, you're always going to feel the energy of the other motherfuckers around you. So I think that I'm learning to unlearn is what's really happening. So all the programming, like my dad reached into religion and was like, God, 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 Jesus, Jesus, Jesus.
Well, he didn't have any other perspective.
And right. Like, so there's one of my mentors, Dr. Venus Opal Reese, friend of mine and a black woman I madly respect. This woman, look her up, fire. Like, and she's going to tell it to you straight.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I learned in one of the classes that I took with her was about disavowalment and repudiation, right? So disavow is to take something and just like, I'm dealing with anxiety. Oh, just give it to God, right? Just give it to God. All right, cool. I'm going to give it to God. And you're sitting there like, oh, yeah. It didn't work, you know?
All.
So for me, fast forward now, I've gotten divorced. I'm in the process of being with someone who, to say this lightly, we both had we had no tools to deal with what came up with our relationship and our bond, right? I'm gonna leave it at that. And that'll be a whole nother podcast with a beverage and we can talk about and break that down. But when you're with someone that you were never supposed to be with and you're praying hard and getting advice from people that have never been divorced as to how to save your marriage and just pray and just wish and want and da-da-da-da-da-da. The more I prayed, the less it worked. The more money I gave her, the less it worked. The more I drank, the less it worked. The more I worked, the less it worked. And I had to realize that this isn't working for me.
And it took how long?
3.5, 4 years. Actually, to be honest with you, it took me meeting my wife to be able to distance myself from my past. It's actually, for me, the healing and everything didn't show any results. It was just action without results. It's almost like building a business from an entrepreneurial standpoint. You're going to invest in the business before you see the return on your investment, right? So life and healing for me was that. So healing and doing the work, going to therapy, waking up, doing my miracle morning, reading books, surrounding myself with people that energy aligned with where I was going. None of that actually showcased itself until I was able to get in relation with somebody that I was supposed to be with, that I chose.
Yeah.
And it also chose me versus we wound up being together. Even though our trauma connected us, we still chose each other outside of it. Like, we're getting down in the rabbit hole. Y'all still with me?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Hey, look, I think these kind of stuff is going to help a lot of people because, again, I have to reiterate, there are 4 black men sitting here all trying to figure out how to be better men. And I got to be honest, I told somebody, I put him out one time, but Jamarcus was there. I said, you know how hard it is to wake up and be something you've never seen every day?
Man.
I said, you know how many people look up to me and expect me to never fail? If this falls apart, we all fail.
Yeah.
And it's because of me. That's how I look at it from a pressure standpoint. But to wake up every day and have never seen goodness, never seen a lot of kindness, seen people struggle and suffer and emotionally suffer, then, beat you over the head because that's the only way they know to communicate. Then not communicate because they don't know how to talk to a child or deal with a kid or raise a kid. And there's really no books for it. So you look up and you say, I'm just going to go the God route. And I was there, so I understand your plight. And I ain't been back to church in so long that when I went to go see my grandpa die, they was like, did Melanie bring a dude to her dad's funeral? They literally had no clue. My mom sitting there crying on my shoulder. I'm looking at my grandpa, and they were like, who is that?
Yeah.
I ain't seen the family or nobody, but I couldn't participate in this idea that prayer was going to fix everything, and if you just give it to God, my nana would always say, she said, don't forget to go to church. I said, ain't in Revelation, doesn't it say that in the last days Jesus God looked down upon the church? She'd be like, I said, oh, don't forget I read it 5 times since I was an adult. So you're not talking to someone who's ignorant.
Yeah. And I do think that when you dismantle the sacramental vibes and break it all down to the butt naked truth.
Yeah.
Prayer, what is that? Sitting still, connecting to your source.
Meditation in a sense too.
Manifesting, meditation, communion. Actually, let's break bread together and let's be with people that are aligned. Like what got me is I've done a lot of traveling in my youth, and I went to a church. There was a freedom seminar where everybody came in, was getting healing, and it wasn't church. It was people that were looking for something. Everyone was aligned. And there was an energy in the room that I was like, I get it. And then I moved to China. There was a mosque in Xinjiang. It's a Muslim side of China. It's right underneath Russia. Wow. And I went into that mosque, and there was a feeling. And I was like, oh, I felt that before. Then I visited my brother in Abu Dhabi, and I went to the mosque there. I was like, ooh, I feel that same thing. And then I went to Jamaica to visit Bob Marley's resting place. And I was like, oh shit, I feel it here too, cuz. And then like when, those times when you and your person are fully aligned, like y'all might have smoked a little bit and then shit's just happening. And then there's just a lightning rod, big bang, and everybody's just like, I felt it there too, And then, you go on a hike in the mountains. Yeah, y'all take that one.
He's like, man, you got the leg out and everything.
Everybody's like, man, we got to start smoking. This is the man.
Like, what?
Hey, man.
Hey.
If you don't know, you better ask somebody.
Hey.
Ain't no cigarette going to do that. Man. Wait till this become a green state. But I digress. But also too simple as that, like in nature.
Yeah.
You'll sit down and you'll have your feet in the water, and those positive ions are coming, and you're just
grounded.
at peace. You feel it there too.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? How dare I say that someone else is wrong? And there's so many ways to connect to the same shit.
Yeah.
So for me, like my religion is, my religion is I don't get sick. My religion is, and I feel like when you talk and listen to like Bob Marley and Lauryn Hill and those Dungeon Family people that are just like on some different shit.
Yeah.
Like love is the religion, and love is an abstract way to describe, a feeling that's just, it. And I feel like that's what everyone's trying to talk about in religion, at least for me.
Yeah.
Well, even in the Bible, it says, literally, love yourself like you love your neighbor, and this do away with the 10 Commandments. But
You did read that thing, didn't you?
Oh, you have no idea. I was raised around these. I had to quote scriptures walking, so I was like, why has this thing got so much possession? So the other things that I read, when you start talking about basically demeaning a group of people, you say, so let me read Mein Kampf, because this is Hitler's idea. Say, what was he thinking?
Bro, you went and read Hitler's? Turn up.
I have the book.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, Mein Kampf is a real thing. And then you turn around and you say, let me read the New Slave Bible, because, in certain places you go, this thing was used to disenfranchise, and he says, or keep an organization way below the structures or standard to be like, hey, tell them they'll get their pie in the sky. And, even when you read the Bible, you say, there's these gold gates and all this other stuff. It literally says that. And you say, well, why they got all gold here on earth? They got all the gold and silver here. I'm confused. They living good, and I'm just supposed to suffer in the struggle. And there's the thing. So mind you, we're not removed 60 years ago, 80 years ago.
That's crazy.
You think about it, 80 years. My grandfather, my nana, before she died 2 or 3 years ago, she was 90-something years old, man. She lived through, segregation and various things along with them. And you go, that ain't that long ago. Some of y'all got grandparents that was right there, which is why they be bringing up, what's old dude that owns the Cowboys?
Mr. Jones.
Jerry
Yeah,
Jones.
you see that old KKK looking photo they showed of him back in the day, but them Negroes is making them money still. But my point is when that's all they've known, that's all they've been given. I'll go back to that funny statement in terms of epigenetics. I had a conversation with my dad. My dad did 7 years, people, and there was a time where he had, tied me up and beat me, right? I'm talking said I'm gonna beat you prison style, hands, mouth, everything, water hose. It got ugly. So when I got older and I could look him in the face and say, hey man, what were you dealing with? What was going on? Well,
That's a powerful question, man.
Get this. At 8 years old, he was being raped by his older cousin.
Wow.
And this boy, well, he would lock him in the closet. And my grandfather, who I believe was the strongest man, couldn't send a letter to his sister about this thing. So when a child brings you this, and then he feels abandoned, now he's got this stored rage and anger and hate that never got healed, to be clear. So he becomes a terrorist, and he terrorizes any and everybody he comes in contact with, even his own children.
Facts.
And then, mind you, had I adopted that mentality, the irony is this: I love my father so much that I never thought that he was hurting me because, it was like, I didn't think it was a bad thing, right? It's like, oh, it's just, kind of what happens. So I never took that rage and put on. Now, I was not a happy person.
Yeah.
So if you did something, I would hurt you. but I didn't want people to feel the way that I felt growing up. But having to ask him that, he said, that's all I knew. That's the only thing that I knew.
Powerful, man. Like the fact that you could distance yourself. Well, disassociation is a wonderful coping mechanism. But like the fact that you could already, and I think that's we mentioned empaths or people, like I call people light givers and light creators, right? Like, I think you being someone that's a light holder, you could recognize the light in him, in his darkness. And I think that's where we get fucked, man. You're a light bringer. You can see the God in you, whatever that is, that essence. And you're like, you know what? He loves me. This is him dealing with his pain at 8. And for you to be able to still have the presence and wherewithal to go back and ask that powerful question, that's a creating question.
But you think about
that's
it.
Insane, man.
I only did it because I knew I had to get away from him. So I said, we're going to have, he didn't know this at the time.
Right. You had to get your closure.
But we need to have one final conversation. We sat out in my grandmother's house in 2 chairs and argued like 2 old men. and I asked him everything. I said, you had me at these women's house till 3:00 in the morning. He says, I needed sex. My dad's like Thanos. He never lied to me. he took me everywhere. My grandmother, when I was a kid, she said, Clarence, I don't think he probably shouldn't be going everywhere with you. You think that boy he's going to turn into you. I mean, he's an awful person to say the least, but the gist of it is I had that final conversation with him for me, and I said, okay, this man's never going to not cause harm to people emotionally in whatever way that looks like. He answered every question I need. I do wish him well, but I never want to speak to him again because I have to grow, and I think my future without him is gonna be much better long term.
I think that to the original question is like, how do you discover healing, right? So I think being in yourself and being comfortable with all you're experiencing and then making a decision.
Oh, yeah.
Like that comes with action. I mean, like for people listening, and I mean, someone that is also on their healing journey, for you to be able to have the presence of mind to know and distance yourself enough from the pain to not meet rage with rage, because that's what we're taught. That's what you were demonstrated.
Yeah.
Rage, bro. The type of rage. I was 13, and I heard my nana tell my mom I was up. I had to take a pee one time. She said, "You have an angry child back there." And I was looking around like, "Who's she talking about?"
Yeah.
But she was definitely talking about me.
Yeah. And to be able to distance your rage enough to have a conversation to get closure so you can complete. And I think people don't get over things, but you can be complete with it.
Yeah.
To be able to do what you're doing now
I think as a black man in general,
different.
And I think it's for men too, but I definitely, depending on the environment, like you said, you come from Baltimore, you look at, fast forward, go to Alabama, and I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, to be clear, where at one point, we had the capital for killing per se, or number 3 in the U.S., and that ain't a good thing to be claiming, but, you get down to 12th and Hardesty in some places, some bad things that can happen. Yeah. There's some bad things that can happen in these environments. So I said the only thing I'm interested in, and even then was I've got to find peace. And peace is one of those things where you want quiet. You don't want to look over your shoulder. I don't want to have to fight no more. I don't want to have to be tough. I want to be intelligent. I want to be smart. I want to communicate. I want to help those that want to help themselves, but I'm not going to hold my hand out either, because a handout's just a handout.
So, like, I was listening to 50. Like, I really respect Curtis Jackson.
You and me both, bro.
Yeah.
I love 50.
And someone was asking him, was like, man, after you got hit, like, did you want to do? He said, look, man, after I got hit, I knew that my life could end at any time. And
It's a reality check.
It hardened me, but it also gave me peace to where I can experience things. And I think like another thing, Dr. Venus, she put me on, she's like, you can pimp your pain and you're only going to, and I look at things as analogies. Like I see things as metaphors, and TD Jakes had something, there's a couple of different analogies, but like thinking about a skyscraper, you go to New York City and you look at the memorial for 9/11 and you look where that tower stood, there's a hole that looks, you can't see the bottom of it. It's vast, it's deep, and it goes down. And as a human, as a person builds their life, you can't go any higher than you've been down. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like, and TD Jakes had an analogy that just rings with me. It's like the analogy of a seed being planted, or a plant being moved from one pot to the next. If you're a seed and you're chilling, you enjoying your life, and then somebody drowns you to propagate, right? And then you get covered and put in a dark place to have your roots grow. You're like, yo, man, I'm just trying to get out this dark place, for them to stick you under soil, cover you up, and to drown you again. You're in to see nothing but darkness, right? Like that's an analogy of life, but you're actually being positioned for success. And I say the same thing about like a plant that's being uprooted, moved, and repotted. Like you get ripped from your environment. Like your relationships have to end, and your whole world that you knew that you were comfortable with has to be disrupted, and it's very traumatic. Right?
But see, that's the thing. I don't think I was ever comfortable in this world. I've always said the world I live in ain't the world I fit in. And
when did you adopt that?
There's kids as early as 15 years old. Yeah. I was starting fires at 13, and I was just like, I don't want to be here. I knew at 13 I was going to leave my house and never come back. 2 weeks after I graduated high school, I never went back. And so you fast forward, I never felt like I'm supposed to be here, for one, too long, for two, around people I don't understand. I don't understand a lot of times this human behavior thing where people are used to fucking people over or stealing from people. I don't want to participate in that.
It's crazy though, like being someone like that in an environment, like for me in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Like I never really fit in, and I wanted to. Like we were in the hood, and they put us in a private school.
Yeah,
only little chocolate chips in the cookies.
Oh yeah, man, that in itself is trauma.
I still have relationships from there, and then moving into public school. Hi guys. Well, what the fuck you talking like? Oh shit. Why your shirt tucked in? Oh you a white boy. But never fitting into that environment. I think when you know that, and you like your environment tries to like suffocate that flame. You know what I mean?
For me,
for you, right?
So my papa died when my dad was in prison, and he said you got to go to. So I was in the white part of town, Blue Springs, Missouri. He says you got to move with your grandma. I got brothers and sisters. He said you got to go. So I'm like, all right. I'm wearing Abercrombie. Imagine going.
Yeah, dog. I bet you had some steel-toed Timberlands too, didn't you?
No. No. I was wearing Goodyears when Adidas had them Goodyear series.
You had them Jonathan Taylor Thomases on. I know you did. You know how the edge of your jeans be a little ruffled a little bit.
You go to the black part of town, they got the tall tees, the Stacey Adams shoes, the Jabos.
Jabos with the little
Earl Penners, man. Earl Penners.
You see what I'm saying?
Coogee.
They like, yo, my man, what you doing with them tight ass clothes on? And I even bumped into an old girl that I knew back in the day, and she said, my sisters used to be like, Jonathan, you really like Trey? You see, his clothes are too tight. And she said she's married and stuff now. She's at the Garland. She says, I think you were ahead of your time. I said, I think you were right.
Yeah.
Because when I was down there, I always wore stuff that I wanted to wear.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, them niggas, look, I got good at flaming and talking shit real quick.
Yeah, you gotta learn to back it up.
And mind you, if you from the real environment, you could be in the middle of the class playing doorknob, BB Butcher, all this stuff that reeks of violence. That's all we know. Chicken. I mean, we're hitting each other all day. I spent 2 hours on these with them paper balls one time. Mm-hmm. I made a rubber band ball.
Oh, rubber band balls.
And then I use a whole stack of paper and then duct tape, and I'm walking through the halls because when we go to Mr. Rogers' class, I'm gonna fuck this nigga up. And I remember Mr. Everett said, "Boy, where you going with this?" I said, "I'm him to class. Is that a project?" I said, "Give me them things." It's that hesitation that got me.
Anytime you say, all
I'm thinking is I'm gonna take this nigga's head off. But when you go back and you rethink, about even myself. I said, how did I get here? How did I get to know violence? How did I get to know pain? How did I get to know love? How did I get to know care? And I think that's a part of the healing journey too. And then how do I want to know those things, right?
Yeah, man.
And so talking to my dad helped me make sense of that ain't it. I tried, being there for this man and with this man and anything. And part of me even blocking him was because if the nigga called, I probably would try to help him still.
Sure.
He's the one person that could probably call and be like, man, fuck, I got to help this idiot.
See, I think there's multiple, like, I feel, trauma shows up in different ways, right? Like, and everybody's pain is everybody's pain. And it's not, you can't reference your experience with someone else because you're built for that. Why ever your story is yet to be written, but it also shows what you're doing now. I just think it's really, I think it's even more impressive when you don't have a model of love and acceptance and you maintain and preserve your peace. Like there's a part of like when you're a child, I remember when I stopped being ignorant, and it was when I was like 8. I was playing Chuck E. Cheese. That was the jam, bro. You get your straight A's, you get 4 tokens, and me and Ninja Turtles.
Oh, man.
That was my shit.
Boy.
Like, I'm sitting there sweating in khakis, like, hey, two buttons. 2 buttons, and you go all the way through. And I remember there was this kid, mind you, I'm in private school at the time. There's a little white kid sitting on a stool. He was watching it, and I hit him with the, excuse me, can I play the game? Are you playing, sir? And he looked at me and he turned around and looked back, and I said, tapped him again. Hey, a little more bass. Excuse me. Hi there with my best Carlton impression. Can I play the game? And he's like, my mama told me that I don't have to respect black people.
Oh wow, damn.
And bro, when I tell you, like, all my handful of my little tokens fell, and I was just like, I don't ever think I actually played the game again. But that's when I realized that I was different, right? I can pinpoint that, right? But I had so much love and ignorance, and I was shielded before then. So I say that to say for someone who was born into an environment that wasn't love and shield, it was just like real and raw. Like you were dealing with like real humanity. Like this man's talking about, he's referencing prison to you as a child, for you to actually stay true to the innocence that you couldn't see, and then make and position your environment. Like I deal with that with my partner a lot, like how she grew. Like learning to be safe is uncomfortable for someone that's never experienced safety. Mm-hmm. But for you to never experience safety and strive towards safety, that's some different shit, man.
It is. And what he's saying objectively too, at 5 years old, they had to pick me up from the prison because my dad got picked up. So his dad picked me up. So
at 5.
Oh yeah. At five. So right. And then I never saw a place of safety, a moment of safety, or an opportunity to feel safe or be safe. And even now, are we really safe?
Absolutely not.
so you go, what's safety look like? I guess we'll find out one of these days if we keep working hard enough or smart enough to say the least. But emotionally speaking, I was drained in general as a child. So you go, I don't want to live there, man. Yeah. And even now, I'm like, I'm not going to live there. I just can't do it. So it is a lot of communication and conversation, things that we weren't taught. It's a lot of, being present in a said, time, and being able to read one's behavior and find ways to communicate effectively. So do you go in and you tell a man, you better do this? Or you say, hey, do you think you could have done that better?
Yeah.
And then you start making him self-reflect on ways to improve who he is so he can get to where he wants to be, right? Mm-hmm. And being a leader is super complicated because most of the time, nobody wants to follow a Negro. I don't care what social media is saying. Like, if you do what we're trying to do and build a real viable business, you study the market and trends, and you're an educated person, right? So when you're educated, you've built businesses, you know how to scale. All the words you're using say, hey, I've been responsible and I've believed in myself a few times, and I'm going to do it again. And that's difficult, too, when you don't have 5 more people to believe in you or to support you.
Sure. Like, your failure becomes your story in your head.
Man. Yep.
Versus actually, like, and I mentioned this, like, so my wife's an entrepreneur as well. And, like, I've failed I actually enjoy failing.
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
Like, that's something one of my friends and mentors, and Martin Knight, one of the bosses in New York real estate. And this dude saw something in me, like, and brought me on.
Yeah.
That's actually a funny story, but we didn't have that time. We got mad stories.
Look, we'll do one on business too, man, just so we can walk through what that looks like. And your wife, you got to sit on the next one.
Yeah.
That way you can
She
give
way
us
more boss than me.
Well,
don't get her in here,
look,
man.
Steve Jobs said it's easier to walk 1,000 miles when you have a person with you. And a lot of times we don't see that. And I told Jamal this too. Like he said, I've been here maybe 5 months with him. I've never had friends, man. I don't trust no fucking body. Not my mama, not my sister. We got the same mom and dads, my sister, my brother. You ask Jamarcus, he's been around now for 3 solid years. I don't pick up my phone and I call Chris and Ruben now, but it's dog related.
Yeah.
And they're the smartest people on earth when it comes to dogs. But past that, even Ruben called me one time. He says, Trevor, I told my wife, I better call Trevor. You're going to think I'm dead. But that's the friend in him, right? So I'm really be working through my own shit, trying to make, because when it comes to Negroes, somebody's out to get you, all this other stuff. And they don't really want to do this work. Like you said, we could pray about success or we could do the work. So Maul has been killing it. Jamarcus is learning to kill it. And even again, I've watched your pace. You have a pulse. And those are the things I look for when I'm identifying kindness. And mind you, a lot of times personal trainers, even at gyms, they get egotistical and they won't do something as simple as speak, which don't cost you nothing.
Yeah.
And I could say that there was a kindness from start to finish. And even when you were like, oh shit, my wife was watching, I know that dude.
Yeah. And the algorithms are real, bro. I see you, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, that's that brother. I'm following him for years.
Yeah. And then you look up, and I was talking about dog interviewing somebody one time. They're like, hold on, did I think I see you in a video such as. I said, look, we're not talking about that right now.
Yeah.
I'm here to help you build your business.
Talk to my schedule person.
But that's also to a degree me not accepting my role in being one of the most influential people in how people feed their dogs. 2 years ago, nobody was posting videos of feeding their dogs, man. That didn't happen, especially in the pit bull and American Bully, where nobody was doing that. And we've now shifted that paradigm, if you would, where people are like, oh shit, that video get views. That's what they're thinking, but they're uneducated.
Sure.
I've got probably 20 books in there just on dogs alone. And I said, guys, I'll be a vet by the time I'm done. But just on the healing side, Jamarcus, if you don't mind, what are some areas, and there's something that you said, and it was a question, and I'm asking you to basically enlighten him. One time I asked him something very simple. His life was coming to a head, and it was falling apart. So I went in there and I shut. I said, "Man, what are you doing?" And this is what I said. You're wearing a good face, and you're pretending pretty good.
Yeah.
But I know what's going on, and I don't. And I literally was like, I don't know how you're doing it, because if you need help, you need help. And I know he's still trying to figure out his path and his process and who he is, who he wants to be, how he wants to be received. What's something you would do? And you could chime in at any moment, Jamarcus, maybe enlighten him a little bit more about what you're dealing with daily and how you objectively going to get out of your own way while you continue to grow. But, he's a year younger than you. Okay. Don't look like he's that old. That's that black and Navajo.
That Native American brother.
That First Nation, brother. That First Nation over here, bro. I ain't even got that.
But
I got a whole diaspora. He's straight from there.
Hey, look, literally.
Hey, bro.
I do hope he's taking heed to some of your truths and the things that you're sharing, because you don't have to, man. And the whole purpose of this is I only sit down and want to share the truth, be it mine, yours, or whomever's. And it seems real honest and genuine. So, Money, go ahead and tell him a little bit about some of the stuff you struggle with, because he probably got more experience than I got healing.
Mm-hmm. Well, in terms of just personal growth, man, it was one of those things I think we've even talked about on it was the imposter syndrome, not really believing who you can actually be. And for me, the whole going back to, what's the best lie you told yourself, right? And you're like, yo, I got it. And like he's talking about this one time, I'm wearing this face really, really well. Like I'm thinking I'm holding everything together via real estate. Oh man, but nothing's happening. And I'm lying to myself and I'm trying to sell them on the opportunity. Oh no, I just got to get this one more deal. I just got to do this. I just got to do that. And nothing's working. And comes back to like not being able to ask for help or even guidance or seek guidance. And then he's like, hey man, you're wearing this face, but what's really going on? And it's just me just constantly lying to myself. And so not knowing what to do, I'm like, I have no idea. And I just broke down. I started shedding tears because I was like, I don't know, man. Because I never knew how to speak up in that light. Like, because I grew up without my father.
Sure.
So my mom's single mother. She's military. Thankfully, she was in the military because it allowed me to see the world. We lived in Germany for some time. Moved back, went to Killeen, Texas and Fort Hood. Went to Kansas City. Is where I graduated high school in Fort Leavenworth. That's how I linked up with Trev eventually. But for me, man, it's just like understanding when to ask for help, how to ask for help. Those things are what I struggled with mostly because I didn't understand how to seek guidance. I just just hold it in because I didn't know how to manage my emotions as a man.
Sure.
Those are the things I struggled with. So someone who's trying to actually heal, mentally, trying to self-improve in those aspects, what are some things you would shed, advice-wise?
Man, first of all, I respect your story, man, and I appreciate you you guys even coming to me for this, because
Listen, bro, I'm beyond the healing part. I just want to take over the world. It's just that simple.
Mind, body, soul, spirit, financial. There's mad intersectionality.
So,
I'm the healing dude. So be it. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's cool because that could be my gift song. But like for you, man, I think it's important. Like just hearing like the cliff notes. You got to think about like just take a second and look back at yourself from your 30s and look at yourself in your teens and your early years, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned that you didn't have a father figure. You mentioned that your mother was in the military and single mom. You have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I had a brother with me the entire time.
Got it. So if you look at how the structure of the military is, like there is no emotional there is no room for emotional there's no room for weakness or you're gonna get snuffed out. And when you get out, you are a programmed weapon that has no purpose.
Yeah.
Right. So there's nobody feeding into your mother. And if your mother's a single mom, she's automatically having to adopt her masculine to survive. So you're built and you're programmed from a situation absent a key piece with you probably having to take on some of the parent roles. So the roles are all fucked.
Yeah.
And then you're traveling as a military person. So there's no continuity or safety. So I think the first part for someone that's in a situation like that is taking a moment, stop trying to progress and take a moment and be still and reflect. And then once you reflect and look at how shit really was for you, like, dude, that shit was fucked up. The fact that you're not a statistic right now is a win.
Man, say.
Man.
And then there's a room for grace. And then you get space from your story. And then you can start actually looking into who you are now and giving yourself your flowers for the shit that you did under pressure. And now you can start turning around and giving yourself direction and start making that decision to walk forward. The fact that you are not, do you have kids?
Yeah. Well, I have a son.
And are you there?
He lives in Kansas City, but I
does
try
he
to be
know
present.
Does he know who his father is?
Absolutely. I mean, I was on the game with him last night.
Bro, so you've already won. You did some shit for him. That's generational wealth right there that he ain't never had.
Yeah.
And granted, the situation, we can unpack that over a man's best friend. It's coming out in 2027. Y'all just be ready.
Hey, don't worry. There's a drink and everything. There's a drink and everything too. So don't worry.
He'll make you want to do something.
Yeah, I'll make you a drink. Yeah.
Listen here, like I'm glad we talking.
Yeah.
I tried January, but that shit's already fucked up. But no, like, and I want to definitely, I just want to acknowledge, I want to acknowledge the fact that you are even aware enough to describe what you experienced and you're looking for more.
Yeah.
For most people that have had that happen, they've already stopped and fucked up. So, bro, like you're here.
Yeah. And mind you, I mean, I had my fucked up, like, era too, man. Like, granted, I met him when we were 19, Trev. And then, eventually kind of went on our own separate paths. He went on his path of growth. I went on a path of fuckery. And I got 4 DUIs. I went through a whole bunch of bullshit. And then my turning point, and it's so funny, everything that you were saying, I'm like, dang, man. I was like, that was me at that point. That was me at this stage. So, like, I really appreciate you coming on here, explaining all that, because it definitely helped me look at things a lot differently.
Yeah.
And then, so, after my last DUI, I'm like, yo, I mean, this is clearly not working. I was like, I have a 2-year-old son now. I want to be present in his life. I don't want him when he's 5, 6, 7 years old still having to come see me when I'm in jail or dealing with all this bullshit. So like that was that huge turning point for me. And then like there was literally a point where like I had no choice but to change. Like you said, life will interact at some point and force you to go that route. And when that last DUI happened, they had to put an ankle monitor on me where I couldn't drink alcohol for 9 months. Yeah. Like it was on me. Like there's no, if I did, I was going to go to jail for a year and some change. So I was like, at that point, I had no choice but to start looking at other sources of light, because that light finally came in. Like I said, you can't look at darkness anymore, right? Can't see. So at that moment in time, that's what I was like, yo, I want to start getting into personal training, fitness. That's where him and I linked back up. And then on that point, that's where things finally started turning for the better in my life. And so, yeah, I mean, but trust me, it's been a journey and it's been difficult, but like now, like I know what I want to do for my son. I want to, I know exactly how I want to, try to help be an impact in his life. And even though, we have to be distant from each other, we communicate all the time.
Yeah. I think, bro, like there's so much joy and I get just from hearing that, but like you think about it, what's the pattern, right? You had to sit yourself, you had to live life. Life happened, you react to it and do the best that you know that you can do with it. For me, it was go to work. For you, it was fuck off.
Yep.
And I had that. Another podcast about that.
Yeah, trust me.
This is the second time I will say, I had my fuckery season.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, you had an emotional response and cope with it the best that you could, which was alcohol. Mm-hmm. You mentioned First Nation. Where the fuck you think you learned that shit?
Oh yeah, trust me, man, and it is evident.
Yeah,
Trust me.
but that is a historical and cultural wound that we have to step in the way of real shit that no one's actually talking about. You're frustrated, you're feeling all these feelings, so you have to have that large outlet to get that dopamine response to cure, to calm things down.
Yeah.
And you fucked up. And you had to sit still. You didn't hear that.
Yeah.
So you fucked up again and had to sit still.
Yep.
And it's either die, fuck up, go away, and you had an ankle bracelet that forced you to be sober and actually deal with the shit that you were feeling.
Yep.
And then guess what? When you were still and that bullshit was out the way, you naturally attracted someone and you listened.
Yeah.
And then you made a decision.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you are clear that you want to be a part of your son's life.
Yeah.
That's the same shit. And you're mentioning business, Trev, like, you know, the failing is like, we think that these life lessons are punishment or just some bullshit. No, you're learning.
Yeah.
And this is what learning feels like.
Some niggas learn, some niggas don't.
And if you don't, you're going to be set down a different way.
No, trust me, and that's what I was getting to too.
Yeah, but
That's
like,
what I was getting to.
listen to what you said, man. He's like, I'm clear. I want to be a part of my son's life.
Yeah.
That's something that your father, based off of what you mentioned just briefly, wasn't able to say. And I think that that's one of the elements of generational wealth that we have as this new evolved thinking group of men is that we have to be honest about our shit that we've done.
Yeah.
Like when your son comes to you and he's fucking up, you're like, look, man, I fucked up. Matter of fact, you want to go and come visit some of my friends? They still gone. Come on, let's do this. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Let's go on. Nah, you want to get fucked up? Pull up, bro. Sit down. Let's get fucked up.
Yeah.
Like that's some shit that I didn't get from my family. It was bled up in some Jesus. Like oh, you want to drink? You're kicked out. Like, oh, you want to talk about you want sex? You're kicked out. Like,
Wow.
We can't even have the discussions.
there is no discussion. I
Damn.
think
No,
that,
I definitely know that feeling, bro. It's a terrible thing, though.
yeah.
I
like,
mean, and he's a dad too, so I know he has some very real conversations.
you said
with
that
his son.
you're what?
He's a dad. His son,
Oh, you're
Michael,
he's a dad.
That's Michael.
Michael, yeah.
Young King.
Man,
Little homie.
I'm trying,
Man,
man.
I already faded up. He way cleaner than I ever been. I looked and I was like, yo, man, that man got a mohawk. I ain't never had one of those.
braids at the top. Yeah, no, he's
Clean.
He's very active and involved as well. So you know, I definitely want to leverage just that your journey because I don't know how to. I'm not in their shoes.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I'm probably never gonna have to go back through a healing process because I'm so strict in terms of how I choose to make decisions to grow. And if you can't grow, they know. He knows a guy named Mike. Mike is a billionaire. Me and Mike operate the same way because I'll leave. It's like I'll literally I'll walk off like mid conversation.
Okay, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I know where I know where my values are and where I best serve myself. So I'll come in and he says, "Hey, come meet these people." I'll do that. I'm back upstairs or wherever I'm supposed to be. I'm gone. He'll blink and I disappeared. But two people definitely growing, as he said. You know, cousin wanted to do the trucking thing. I said, "Look, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. If I don't say nothing else, just don't do it." Someone has to be a voice of reason at times.
Sure.
But we've kind of leaned into the struggle of looking to grow, and I think one of the hardest things and the best things you can do is emotionally grow.
Yeah.
Well, with what you're saying, number one, Mark, do you feel complete with the question that you posed and the insight that I shared? Was there any follow up that you had with that or anything?
No. I mean, you handled that beautifully, by the way. I appreciate that. Like everything you've said, man. Like I'm like, dang, man. Like I can identify the areas, and I'm gonna go back and listen to this again because this is a great one, man.
Cool,
I can
man.
identify the areas in my life where I've experienced, like, man, he's saying this. This is exactly what happened here, and here, and here, and here. So I can see the place markers in my life based off the things you've said. So no, everything you've said, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you.
Respect. And then for you, Trev, like with that position, because I've been in that position in life as well, where my shield was my knowledge.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's where you're at, but
No. It's a good one.
what I'm hearing from you is like, you know, I got a place, and if you get too close, I'm out.
Oh yeah,
I'm out, and that's how you
beyond a
live.
reasonable doubt. I'm Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah,
I'm cutting everything off.
Yeah.
But the challenge is, here's the challenge as a black man, is you've got to find one or two people, because Miranda Tate, who helped run Todd Wagner for Mark Cuban, these people help manage the growth of big dreamers, right?
Got you.
So you can't get to Jay-Z. You can't get to these people unless you know somebody, and they're going to vet you because they know them. So in this case, if I really think, hey guys, I believe wholeheartedly there are 3 companies we could sell for over $100 million and exit on one for $1.5 billion when we're done. I don't want to play like I'm not a nigga who's worth it. And so you can't bring me a dumb nigga. I got to be very candid in saying that. And not a nigga who's dreaming. We get up and we put out content and information and we do the work that 9 out of 10 people could do. So you can't just get to me. It doesn't make sense. I'm not here to be people's friends. I love to be kind and respectful. I told him we could lose. So if he makes a choice, we get to a place, we lose $200,000. I could live with that. I said, I don't believe that every choice we're going to make, including me, is going to lend success. But as you talked about, and Jeff Bezos and all the people I study regularly, 50 Cent, you're going to lose something. And I can live there because I signed up to fail fast. The faster we fail, the faster we'll succeed. But we can't do is we can't make, unfortunately, a lot of human error. Because if you ever watch a story fuck itself over, it's when you invite the devil in or a wolf in your den, and you didn't see what they saw, but they were working from a different angle.
So with that, like, and this is something I'm learning in this season, right? And I think DMX said it. He's like, man, a snake gonna be a snake. You gotta trust a snake to be a snake.
That's a famous clip.
And I caught this from a cat at the gym, and he's into the business and the international side of things, and brother as well. Nigerian, so he originally from the other side. He got that First Nation.
Hey.
But one of the things that we were talking about earlier is like how can you choose who you build and bring into your circle and da 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 da. And one of the things he gave me that stuck and kind of lands where you're at, it's not even about friendship, it's about leverage. You're right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I can trust you to do what you do well, and I can trust you to fuck me over. So instead of putting myself in relation with you, I'm going to leverage your strength and I'm going to hire you. Like if you're a marketing person, but your integrity's low, I'm going to trust you to have low integrity, but I'm going to hire you to do marketing. So there's a bridge and a protection shield. So,
of course.
So what I guess I'm hearing from you is like, I'm aware. I will cut you out, and that's something I'm growing through.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna put up fail safes to where I've got, gatekeepers to bring people in. And once we vet it, I'm cool. Or if energetically I feel like there's some alignment, I'm gonna leverage that alignment until we see what the relationship is. That what you're saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at a business, you say, what does a business need? For instance, I built and took care of all the dogs. So now, for instance, I don't really walk the dogs anymore. I'll take you go out there and do with a treat. Jamarcus will walk the dogs. It's like, hey, these dogs need to get this done. He doesn't have 10,000 hours of dog work in his repertoire. So in that, he's memoiring / writing this journal. This is what I learned from Tron, Eagle, and such and such. I'm saying that to say now it's a matter of finding the positions, the key players, top 5. Jamal knows how to get credit and leverage and get money. And between both of us, if we needed to reach out and potentially pull $1 million for some people we have access to, we could do that and go invest it in other areas that would grow the business. So it's, for me, not necessarily not about having the friends, but when you find those key players, as I told, the next person that gets hired under my Dog Supps, Jamarcus hires. If I ever have to talk to them, which they'll talk to me. You'll have to talk to me. But if I have to bring him to me, now everybody's got a problem. Because he knows the standards. So part of that is, do I believe you could pay Maul $1 billion to fuck me over? No. Do I believe you could pay Jamarcus? No. I got a kid named Jack who's invested. You couldn't pay, he's going to get it. I don't understand. Why would I do that? Because their integrity is where it needs to be. So the top 3 to 5 around me, they've got to be integral. And that means, hey, look, tell the truth. If we're failing, I can live with the failure, but don't hide it from me.
Integral. Yeah. That's going to go with epigenetics.
hey, it's a hard thing. Because you know how niggas are, though, bro.
I'm about to look up epigenetics. Bro, I got the concept. I got to know the word.
And we'll tap into that with your wife, what you just saw. But it's foundationally, as somebody said, you saw Deuce. He's a beautiful dog, right? He is a good-looking Cane Corso. Here's the challenge. He's actually got more. He can engage better with humans than most Cane Corsos. Yeah. Versus the ones who are defensive, docile, and unsure, and sometimes insecure, and that breeds defense, which some people want. They want a protective home. Where our bullies, we focus on making sure that they're active and super confident. Yeah. So the minute an 8-week-old puppy walks in your home, he's walking up the stairs doing all kinds of shit you can't get a dog to do. jumping in cars, jumping out, everything. We build stuff to grow them. So my job is to build the character of the dog because they're going to look like a dog.
Sure. And it's crazy because he's raised around pity. So he's got like an affinity towards people.
There you go.
That's
You
crazy,
know.
right? You see a pity raised by a lab. They got that that fixation where they'll grab stuff and hold it. You know, that's interesting.
So it's the character, aka the breed styles that you keep doubling down on, because for fact 9 out of 10 bullies ain't gonna have a 26-inch head, even though that's what I got 27-inch neck. That's not true. It's just not true.
Yeah.
So, but if we are going to scale and make sure dogs stay out of the shelter, for us, it's imperative that people know what they're getting and how to manage it.
I love it, man. It's all about alignment.
Yeah.
And it's all about, like you mentioned, it's like the core values. And I think kind of what I've been on this healing side, because I've been in the air, I'm been in the air game. Now it's time to get back into the ground game in a different way, and then switch it up. But like I think it's all about that process, man. It's about epic disappointment. And I don't really think I think we say failure, but I think it's just a failure to understand your surrender where it needs to be and where you can release your expectations of what you thought it was going to be and release the energy that you're holding on to of trying to force something to fit where it's not and allowing seasons to close. That creates so much growth, man. I'm telling you, man, my mother passing was the hardest and the best thing for me because I've got so much more from it.
Yeah.
And I'm still just discovering it, right? But those expectations and those processes ending, like even birth, right? It's a very traumatic situation. Like we hear about these 24-hour labors and these kids are holding on to the environment that they're comfortable in.
That's crazy when you think about it that way.
They're growing, and if they stay in that environment, they're not only going to kill themselves, but they're going to kill the mother,
The host,
right? And they come out, and the mom's screaming, and la la la, and the baby's head's all fucked up, and like you know,
She's crazy.
it's all
man.
small, but like it's a traumatic thing moving from situation to situation and dimension to dimension.
Yeah.
But you know, like, and now you're in a place where you're too small and you grow into it, right? And I see the same thing with death. Like my mother was an amazing light source. Like she crashed about 2 years ago. Like it was just a wrap, and she was in a coma, all that shit.
Oh man.
Oh, car crash.
No, so her body stopped.
Okay.
And she went in for what was supposed to be a routine surgery, but they found that shit was fucked up, and they had to put her down in a coma. So my mom like relearned how to write and talk and walk. And when she learned how to write, she wrote these words that's on my arm. It says, "I'm going to live."
Oh, wow.
And I thought for me, because my mom had been leaving and going to the hospital a lot when I was a kid, like, so I thought her living means that she was going to live in the way I expected it to.
Oh.
And the truth of it is that year and a half that she was passing, she chose to embrace moments and to let her expectations die quicker and to adjust and to course correct, because she was in a hospital for 8 months out of the 12 months she was alive. And her choosing to go walk with my father and like choosing to be a light, like the whole hospital, when she was passing, she had all of the nurses in the ICU in the hospital lined up to talk to her and pay respects because she made that much of an impact with the way that she lived. And I think that was I got it tattooed on my body for me to keep that in my mindset is I'm choosing to live, and it's choosing to step even though your expectations fail, and choosing to take on life's challenges as they are and still remain yourself and still let your suffering be something that people can watch and recognize, even if they can't articulate it. So I think that's like,
well, that's the reason for, this right here, what I've enjoyed it. Even I can't thank you enough for coming over and then, chiming in, to say the least. But when I looked at it, I'm a big Ali fan.
Boombayé, baby.
And so when you look at his life and, there's got all these documentaries and nobody could sum up this man's story. They go, and it never gets old.
Yeah.
You go, damn, that was a good documentary. Damn, I really like, and my favorite one is I Am Ali, right? Mm-hmm. That's one of the ones where it really
When it
puts
showed like his older years and like, was that the one?
Some of his older years, some of his newer years, and everything that was happening in between. What is that?
That might have been like a jet outside or
Oh,
something.
snap.
Yeah.
That shit sounded crazy.
Yeah, someone's moving a table or something downstairs. I was like, but there's no tables.
but
genetics.
hey, that's, hey, listen,
That's the word of the day.
Niggas look when they learn a new word.
Bro, I'm gonna be using that shit all week.
Oh man.
That might need to be the title of the episode, bro.
What you're suffering, sir, is just a little case of epigenetics. We're talking about bro. Well, the epigenealogy. There's root words, bro. I'm gonna be intelligent as hell everywhere. It's gonna be fucking awesome.
But just
I'm sorry, bro.
That was good. No. Ali's purpose in living was to enhance everyone around him, even when it was just his energy, right?
Yeah.
So you think about what your mom did in living. You know, there's a story in there that brings tears to your eyes because you know the guy says this 12-year-old wants to meet Ali, right? It's his Make-A-Wish per se, and he says you're going to be Cancer and I'm going to be George Foreman, and then finally the guy says, "Hey Ali, you know, this kid's not going to make it. He's failing." So Ali said, "Okay, after training, we'll go down there. It's about a 2-hour ride." He gets down there. He says, "Look, man, you got to keep fighting, basically. You're going to beat Ken." He says, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to beat it." He said, "But you're going to beat George Foreman. When I get to heaven, I'm going to tell God I know Muhammad Ali." You think about that type of impact you have on a 12-year-old.
For that kid to have that much awareness, right?
Yeah.
At 12, dying from cancer. So when you said something about your mom and these people showing her admiration for fighting the good fight, staying alive, there was a kid who believed that Ali was so great that when he get to heaven, he gonna tell God, "I know Muhammad Ali."
Yeah, he gonna tell the creator of Muhammad Ali, "Hey, cuz."
Hey, man, look.
But see, like I think that's something that I'm becoming super present to in this season. It's like most of the people that we admire or we herald, those motherfuckers are struggling.
Hey.
Like if you think about like someone like, let's say my mother, right? Or this kid or Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Like look at Harriet Tubman.
Ooh.
We look at her as the shero of the movement, right? Think about how much fucking stress, like you talking about it's all on me. Right?
Yeah,
Imagine if your whole life was making decisions, putting your life at risk, but the motherfuckers they coming with you are stressed out and they're gonna die if your decisions aren't inaccurate. Or can you imagine like putting
and
yourself?
that's a beautiful, like, keep going. That's
that's
think,
right.
Harriet Tubman, like one wrong move, everybody did, including
That
her.
bitch hated her life.
Nigga.
Like, can you imagine? Excuse me, she ain't a bitch, but beautiful and take charge, honey. Beautiful, intelligent, take charge, honey.
That's the
a
new
bitch.
word. That's the
Right.
word.
Hey, there you go.
Beautiful, intelligent,
I'll
take
use that
charge,
and start
honey.
calling everybody
That's
bitches.
a-
Now, playing.
She's a beautiful, intelligent, take charge, honey.
That's a beautiful bitch.
Yeah, that bitch was real. But like, put yourself, and this is what I did with my father, right? And it seems like you at a young age did it with yours. But like all these people we look at, her life was stressed out. Can you imagine being 27 years old, going back to the place that you almost died from?
Yeah.
Grabbing 10 people that know they're gonna die, and going and looking at a house in the woods, and that light's on. But you knew them, but you ain't got no cell phone to see if they got somebody with them.
Bro.
Can you imagine the stress of that decision to be like, this is a good place, and convince the motherfuckers with you that you're safe? Like, I bet you she had hemorrhoids, like ulcers, stressed out, palpitations, that little neck thing, read the carotid
But
artery.
that goes back to, they believe even Martin Luther King just wanted to be a dean of a you know, black HBCU, but he couldn't sit back and watch nothing take place. So you go, damn, I made it. It's more stressful to live a life without trying
That's fair.
than to look back and say, yeah, I made it, but you didn't do nothing. You didn't no contribution. So she'd probably, in her mind, the stress, what you're saying completely makes sense, but it'd be more stressful. And my buddy Rich said, he says, you know why people like me and Trev don't fail? Because you want to deal with us failing.
Yeah.
You don't want to deal with us not achieving the things we want to achieve. So it'll be more stressful for her to die without trying.
Purpose driven.
Yeah, purpose, man.
but
And that's hard to find.
Can you imagine though, like just the mindset to where your purpose was so much larger? Like I operate very well under chaos.
Yeah, me too.
And I focus under chaos. I'm just thinking it's like we are celebrating somebody that was uncomfortable, not happy, not having fun, purpose driven, and they were focused on their purpose so much that they didn't she I just can't imagine. It's like, oh my God, I wish I was Harriet Tubman. No, the fuck you don't.
Nobody want that stress.
You don't want that smoke. Like you don't want it.
And she probably definitely lost people along the way. That's what people fail to realize. Somebody probably didn't make it. And then eventually they probably was sitting booby traps.
Can you imagine the guilt, the stress, and just like as a man, like taking care of your family, or as an individual, taking care of yourself or a business or even your animals, right? Like putting them in a position where you forget to, heaven forbid, close the garage, they run out and get popped. Like that, like magnified on a scale where your whole life is purpose driven to be able to navigate that bullshit. And I feel like that is the definition of emotional maturity.
Yeah.
And like, no,
because you got to
like,
keep everybody calm.
You have to just be so professional and so comfortable with being in the shit that you just operate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is literally, it's kind of like practice. You know, Kobe practiced enough so in the game it was just practice.
He just was doing what he did.
Yeah. And now, mind you, people, this is we clearly are seeing there's a base here to keep building from this particular person. And mind you, we always say, you know, if there's an opportunity to do 5 or plus more episodes with people, I like this particular conversation.
Yeah.
Because I got to be honest, I don't necessarily know how to have it. I know how to have conversation with the people around me when they might be struggling or going through something mentally, but I'm very good at business. I'm not the best friend. Probably one of the worst friends you could ever have. That's the truth.
Which probably makes you the best friend because we know what we're going to get from you.
That's what I'm saying.
At least I know where you at.
You know, and so that's the other point. You can find me. You like, yo, he's probably up in the room. Just go up there or go call him, or he's at the gym. It's like 3 or 4 places that I frequent where if you needed something, if you're like, yo, and then if you need some, trust me, he'll come through.
Yeah.
You know, so
Facts.
You've got me.
You're somebody that will pour. It's very difficult to pour into you.
And then that's just because I have a clear path to what I believe needs to take place.
Clear.
And I'm learning. And I learn quick. And I learned to pivot. You know, I ain't stuck on something. Like I told them, if this didn't work, I would stop. Like I would just do something different. Like, but it's working. And it's a work in progress. And even this right now, sitting here with you, it's working. I tell them all that. I say, yo, this is gonna work. This might make sense. And you know, we've now got people like, oh, I want to bring more people to talk to you, Trev. You're a good interviewer. You're good. And I'm like, yeah, I knew that, but I didn't want to be bothered in this way. But it goes, look, it levels everyone up around us. And it gives, you know, yourself brand awareness. And I don't know, do you have a name for basically your grand idea of what it is you're going to do for the world?
Not yet, man.
Okay.
I think it's actually like being a part of just being around black men that are actually up to something. I mean, God, I'm just like, I got to sit with this.
Man.
But like this right here is actually, and the cool thing is I watch Kendra. She has that look. She's like, that's my man. Yeah. yes.
We gonna get her on the camera.
Operating your gift song. I'm going to suck his dick tonight. look, she's smiling, ain't she?
Hey, look, that's empowering too,
But
because
like-
somebody should be proud
But
of you.
I say that tongue in cheek, pun intended. Y'all better stop, man. Y'all gonna get me all this. Don't gas me up because I'm gonna get in the car. She's like, oh, so you think you funny? Oh, you a funny man with a mic?
I can't breathe.
I'm about to hear this shit later.
I'm so weak, bro.
Don't send this shit to my dad. He's like, but anyway, so I say that to say is like, I think it takes somebody that's operating in their gift zone. And you mentioned a word, you said, I'm clear. And you've attracted people that are also aligned with the vision. I think it takes being around a room that's up to something for you to be able to have other people show you your gift zones.
Godly, but you know how many people so Reed Hastings, the guy, or Reed Hoffman, my bad, who started LinkedIn, Michael Andreessen's a big name out in Silicon Valley. He started Netscape Communicator back in the day. Long story short, he said, I would have simply worked at the fax machine to learn and be in the room with Michael Andreessen before. Like, people don't know how important, just like you're saying here, it is to sometimes get into a room where you didn't know shit existed. You go, oh, I didn't. And the conversations maybe start jumps to get those juices flowing. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, they're doing that. I could assist here. And I told Jamarcus and I said, guys, I'm going to provide the path to $1 billion. What you guys do next, kill it. But Steve Ballmer's still worth $1 billion some change. So everybody think they got to be Gates and Jobs. I'm going to adopt this Jobs-like mentality in Oprah. And I'm going to do it because I just want to get away from everybody. But if you guys make $1 billion on the road, I said, just focus on the dogs and I'll change everything.
I think that's like, dude, you're just like Major Keys. Like, he's over here Joker, Lil Joker, Ace. For those of you that don't play spades, that is a colloquialism with the black community where we bond off of beating people with high-value face cards. You're welcome. Tune in next week.
Man.
We'll talk about tongue. No, I'm
This is a blast, man. I'm glad.
Like the thing with me is like last year, the life I've created up to this point was with necessity. I wanted my why. Like, what's my why? My why was to remove my wife from the situation that she was in, working her ass off at her company with people draining her, and to be and evolved when my mother needed me. I have completed those whys. And now looking up from that, I feel like I'm in a situation where I have a lot of potential, a lot of value to add. The issue is that I am constantly pouring, and I'm not in a room that I'm getting filled.
Yeah.
And I prefer being a sapling in a room with redwoods. Because I'm not going to act like I'm nothing but a sapling, but like you mentioned, by osmosis, I'll invest and make a shit salary or make nothing off commission to learn from motherfuckers doing it.
Yeah.
Man,
I literally told you, I said, I'll sell every dog if there was an opportunity on the other side of the world to go and learn something that I don't know that I believe could be advantageous in the future.
From someone you respect.
Of course, of course. I said, then come back and do it again.
Right.
It is not that difficult, hence the alchemist per se. But what I do have to ask, because we'll get to the next one, is what keeps you motivated, man? That's kind of those unmotivated podcasts, but you say we ask the question about like what keeps you motivated, man?
I have an undying hope. You know, like my hope is unwavering. And honestly, the example that my mother set for me, I'm choosing to live. Like my what keeps me going is choice.
Yeah.
I have nothing but choice. There's nothing around. If you like my life, everybody's like, "Oh my God, I love how you speak." I'm like, no, you don't want the shit that's giving me the perspective. So I choose to, period. And there's nothing other than like my life has been up to this point a summation of everybody else's idea of who I should be and my idea of what I could do to make everybody else feel good. Right now, I've stepped and dismantled that, and everything that keeps me going is 100% choice.
Yeah.
And I'm choosing to because I choose to, period. And my intention is to kind of like what you were talking about with these guys, is to realign. Like I'm having back surgery in 3 weeks. And I am not looking forward to that.
Hell no.
However, I'm looking forward to the idea that I have to focus on myself.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to be walking again, you know?
yeah.
So within that, my intention is to position myself in a way that I can attract and align with whatever it is I'm supposed to be surrendering to.
Yeah.
And the results, the life, and everything that you see will just be a byproduct of that alignment.
Yeah.
So I'm still there. I'm still in the discovery phase. So if y'all know something, you guys actually have a perspective looking at me. I'm down like 4 flat tires on a Cadillac.
It's a matter of just finding one's skill and their gift, and then in this case, we have the platforms per se that we're still growing.
Yeah.
We've got our growth goals as well, which give people more access. For instance, if the painter painted ego, I'll sell one-on-one. And, long story short, I could probably sell it for $5,000 and give them
Which one is this?
No, I'm saying I would have a painter paint ego.
So you're telling me I need to be around at what time and what wall are you? No, he's a beautiful pup, man.
And it'd turn into a thing because, my dogs are now assets. And people looking like they got a regular dog. If people lose their shit and they could tell me before they know my name, we're walking into Komodo downtown and dude's like, man, I know you. I said, man, you don't know me. He said, I know Champ. What did he say? He said, I know Bam Bam, Ego, Tron,
Cha-Cha.
Baloo. I said, okay, you know the dogs, then that's the most important thing. Take me out of the equation. This was about the dogs, as I said.
That's actually a powerful place to be, man.
Exactly. But point is the dogs now have shaped it and shifted, and I believe given me perspective on where I can take this big thing. And trust me, I do a lot of research, but we do a lot of work too.
Yeah.
So point is, I've never been in a company of good black men. That's the truth.
Facts.
I've been around dogs my whole life, and I had to be one. And to a degree, that could make you a
Say
monster.
that again.
Yeah, you had you got
on a bone, man.
You had to be a dog, and my friends, we get them out here. They tell you stuff that I did. I don't remember. It's true. Remember you had that nigga up in that wall? I was like, oh man, I don't remember that, bro. I literally don't remember.
I woke up.
I don't remember these acts of violence, but they were like, yo, you had so. I was like, dang, really, that happened? And it be dead ass telling these stories.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I did that.
It's crazy, right?
But I'm watching the series, The Best Man. The series, right? Probably one of the best series I've ever watched, and I don't even watch a lot of black TV shows. And I'm looking at these well-to-do people who are successful, And you go, man, every last one of them are rocking, right? They all got their own thing. And I said, man, what would that look like if 4 or 5 of us all had, $1 billion? And what could we do for the world?
Man.
If we all had that type of leverage, to be clear, to impact real change. And I said, I think there's something here. And then it just happened, boom. I bump into, really get to know Mo. Now, mind you, he's got the dog for a year and some change almost. Bump into him, and I'm like, this seems like a good dude. And then we rap, boom. I get in here and figure like, oh, this is a good dude. Jamarcus, he's foundationally a good person. He a lot of work to do. We all do, including myself. And then we keep meeting more people who we believe can be advantageous. Stan the dog man, he'll be up here shortly, more than likely. Boom, another good dude. No ego involved. You remove that ego, we could go do a lot of great things. And you need a little bit when you walk outside, but amongst your peers, you guys should be able to sit down and conduct yourself in a way that forces growth. And that doesn't mean we always going to agree.
Iron, right?
Yeah. And literally, it's called Iron Sharp K9. That's all. Iron sharpens iron. So
Alignment.
it's literally his thing.
Yeah.
So fast forward, you go, here we are talking with another person who's on their path. And remember, some of these people, Jeff Bezos didn't build, Amazon until he was about 33 years old, and it just now got started rocking, right? Rockefeller didn't do oil till he was 33. You look up, and Jamarcus is a person who fancies the Ray Kroc story, the founder, the guy who started or basically leveraged and took McDonald's over. That was 51, 52 years old. You hear the stories of all people who started in their 50s, and potentially at that time, what it sounds like they might have just realized, I got to fucking start living for me. I ain't got much time left.
You got to get out the way.
And the minute you realize that time is what you make it, especially if it is your time, and trust me, your time is your time until you let someone else abuse it. So in this case, no one here is abusing anyone's time. Even, as I said, I've hated podcasts, but I love the fact that this is a moment in time we get to capture and hear your story, hear from Jamal, hear from myself, hear from Money, and it potentially could empower someone else to go out and find their tribe, their group, their people, and even try to figure out how to heal. If that's, the path you're on. And again, I don't know what it all looks like. I know that we've all got our own journeys and ways in which we've dealt with that. And we're probably going to all have to do some more healing. I don't want to get cut no more because I've been stabbed so many times. You just go, I could take another knife, but I'm good on it. So that's why I'm like, you put that shield up, as you said, to prevent fuckery. And I could smell it a mile away because that's why I was raised. I was raised with people fucking people over, literally. And I'll leave you with this. My dad stole $90,000 from his own mother, and she got evicted out of her house after living there for 30 years, raising 8 foster kids and 2 of her own. And he called me while I was building a business at Shawnee Mission South, and he said, Trev, your grandmother's getting put out. My mom told her, because they have the same initials, that she's getting letters like, yo, Melanie Cochran, Mark, hey, I'm getting letters. You about to get put out. He ain't paid the house note in about 2 years, but was taking her money. And 3 months before she got put out, he moved to a downtown loft. My dad, when I tell you, is no good. He's no good. Me and my mom, we don't get along, but I would never fuck her over. That's just not in my. It's not who I am. It's not who I want to be. So when I tell you I can't fool with family, I do mean it. These people are dangerous. And I'm out there. The sheriffs, I've never seen such. I've got pictures to this day. They're bagging her stuff with 3 feet of snow on the ground and putting it all outdoors. That house is getting cleared out, and they're standing inside the house. You've got to go. There are people driving past picking shit up. I ain't never drove a U-Haul. My dad was like, yo, you gotta drive this U-Haul. We're going to try to take what we can, put it in a storage unit. There's a picture of my grandfather that I would have loved to keep. I don't even know where it's at this moment in time, and now it's gone forever. I've seen some fucked up shit growing up, and I repeat, at the core, I ain't talking about nobody else's family. I'm talking about my own blood father. Put his mom out, literally, of her own home. Took all of her money. Nigga sold her car. I go down the line. This dude's just no good. And I just don't want to participate in that, moving forward and in this life. So we can't thank you enough for sharing some of this story. Hopefully we get to hear some more. I think now I know how to navigate even other topics specific to traumatized, trauma, dealing with it, managing it, getting over yourself, getting out your way, learning from it, growing from it, potentially some processes he knows that could help you heal. He called off some people that could be advantageous for you to follow, listen to, and learn from, most importantly, about yourself. Guys, this is the Unmotivated Podcast. We appreciate those that are listening. Please comment, download, like, subscribe. I don't know what you're supposed to do. We're on all platforms outside of Pandora, right, Money?
Yes.
There you go. So it's on Spotify. It's on Google. We're about to get this man a little sippy sip. and
Man's
then we
best
go,
friend, baby.
Then we gonna talk
we're gonna
about
try second half of January.
and then we gonna come back and talk a little about business with him and his wife. People, stay tuned as always. Good luck.
Good luck, man.
Blessings.